that what is the true policy of this government. Here you are going into mines and cones aggressively and telling how transparently it has been done, which is wonderful. Transparency is good for the nation, sir. But I think they are misleading the Honorable Prime Minister, because I see the double standards of this government, sir, which really pains all of us. कि आप 6,000 किसान को दो, तो it is allowed. If the state gives free bijli to the kisan, it's a freebie. तो आप करो तो अच्छा, हम करें तो सब बुरा. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता ना सर. So if you are giving 6,000 to them, we are happy, we compliment you, we congratulate you. अच्छी बात है. मैं तो कहती हूँ 6 का 12 करो, 12 का 18 करो, कोई नहीं. अच्छी बात है. You give it in their account, but why is this government anti-electricity only in the states?
Shrimati Supriya Sule ji.
Thank you, sir. I stand here to support the energy conservation bill, sir. So this entire journey of the energy is a long drawn journey globally. And I appreciate all the inputs on Friday made by the Honorable Minister, where he talked about the mixed basket that you're creating. I only seek a few clarifications from the Honorable Minister as a concerned citizen and as a concerned parliamentarian of this August House. So there was a story in the newspaper last week, I stand corrected. It says that India has dropped its target of establishing 500 gigawatt of renewable capacity by 2030, giving itself a flexibility of 50% of power from non-fossil fuel sources. This is the commitment, and the Cabinet on Wednesday approved, sir, that India's updated NDC to communicated with the UNFCCC. The updated NDC proposes about 50% cumulative electric power installed capacity from non-fossil fuel-based resources, dropping 500 gigawatt absolute targeted committed at the COP26. It also did not include the commitment of reducing 1 billion tons of carbon emissions. This is what has come in the newspaper. So I seek a clarification from the Honorable Minister that is this the factual situation and what is the policy of the government. Sir, because I'm very concerned, because I follow Parliament very closely. I'm fortunate enough to be here and to hear very illustrious ministers speak exceptionally well. And last few weeks during question hour when the House has functioned, renewable energy has been talked about in a very positive manner, but at the same time, the coal ministry has also been very, very energetic and enthused by the work they are doing. They are talking about coal, they are talking about the mines, how well they are doing, how much more generation has to be done, ultra projects by the government. So I humbly ask the government that what is the true policy of this government? Here you are going into mines and cones aggressively and telling how transparently it has been done, which is wonderful. Transparency is good for the nation, sir. But I think they are misleading the Honorable Prime Minister, because both the mantralayas are giving completely conflicting information because they are contradicting each other. So I feel very, very concerned. So if you could kindly give me a clarification. Sir, I come from a background of a rural and an urban constituency, and actually this entire story energy started really from the sugar factories in Maharashtra, where renewable energy was really started. And in the objects and statements, you have said that you are looking at green hydrogen, green ammonia, biomass, ethanol, which is all wonderful. I'll seek a clarification on biomass from my little knowledge about, I have very little knowledge on power. But I would like to seek a clarification that both biomass has seen a lot of NPAs in investment, that are lobbies globally, sir, for this kind of matter, is what magazines and information says. So what is the position of Government of India on biomass? Because you've talked about this. And somehow biomass has not delivered the superior results that we have seen, like in ethanol. So if you could kindly clarify in the larger interest of the nation. And the other points are for solar. We are all for solar. We are very happy you're working so much in solar. I have to seek few clarifications from the Honorable Minister that in the land acquisition of solar plants, you normally give 1 year to a project. It takes 6 to 9 months to just acquire the land, because it's thousands of acres that they need, that too directly from the farmer. It's so hard to do land acquisition. So why doesn't Government of India work closer with the states like we used to do for MIDCs? So why don't you use the MIDC model for land acquisition? This is just a suggestion to the government to improve the scheme. Because what happens is you give only 1 year or 18 months to the person who's doing, because in your own reply last week in Parliament, You have said that most of the renewable energy projects in this country are done by private sector and developers select it through a transparent bidding process. Very good, this government is very transparent. We are very proud and compliment them on their thing. But at the same time, is the policy really helping the person who is putting his own money? So land is a big challenge. So what intervention will the government do to make sure that the land government helps, like an MIDC, something similar? Is that possible? Second, during this COVID time, they have given a blanket extension to the windmills, which is a very good thing. Congratulations to the government. So because of the supply chain distribution, if in the renewable energies you have given it to the players, the investors of wind, why not do it same to the solars? They have also been similar. They are doing renewable energy. So why this step treatment given to solar? I mean, everybody should be treated. Everybody's been through challenges. So why does solar not get the same is my question to the Honorable Minister. Another big policy intervention which I'd like to ask the Honorable Minister. This government initially was doing a great job in all these bids. Now, in the last 6 to 8 months, you have changed a small policy, and this is purely from the newspapers. I can table wherever I've got this information from. When you get an L1, normally you give it to the L1. You all have started reverse bidding. Now, because of that, the viability becomes a big issue. Already he has delayed because of the land. And the last 6-8 months, most of these private developers, and the reason I'm saying private, because you yourself in your reply has said that all private people are only doing this business. So it's not that I'm speaking for some private agency. I'm going purely by the policy of the government and what has come in the question hour. So what is your stand on this? So will you, between this L1, then what's the point of L1 if you're doing reverse bidding? And the whole thing is the country is going to get affected, the consumer is going to get affected. So if you could clearly give me an answer on this policy thing. And what happens, sir, in this reverse bidding? I stand corrected, please correct me if I'm wrong. What happens if it doesn't work out for the private, it comes back to NTPC, which goes back to the government. So then private players will say, ki hum desh mein kar rahe, hum baahar jaake kar rahe, policy is more friendly. So why are you pushing people who want to work in India away because of this one policy which has only come in the last 8 months, sir? It wasn't there before. So my request is, if you could clarify, it will be in the larger interest of the nation and all the people who want to work with the government. Sir, 2-3 quick questions. Even Adirda talked about R&D. Now, you're talking about hydrogen. In your very introductory speech, you spoke very well about green ammonia, green hydrogen, which has all sounded wonderful, very encouraging. But what is the R&D that this government is doing? From the information that I have from a reply given by you, the central assistant has consistently, in 18-19 was 4,414. In 1920, it was 3,000. In 2021, 2,800. And 2022, it is 2328. So it is continuously coming down. And your government has not reached a single target since it has come to power. People talked about GST. I won't go into that. I see you hinting at this. Just 2-3 very short points. Now, this PM Kusum scheme, you haven't reached a target. I'm just reading through it quickly. You said solar rooftop program. In that, you have only reached 15%. So many programs, off-grid decentralization of solar program, that has been stopped. Bioenergy program, stopped. Small hydrogen program, stop. And the shortfall, sir, I'm just rushing through these points. Actually, I would have liked to speak a little more. For the total renewable energy of what this, not even 60% target has achieved. I'm not saying that why have you not achieved it, but the whole thing is when the Honorable Minister opened, he said 60-40. Sir, we all know that when there is renewable energy done, we lose a lot in transmission. If about 100 is invested, only 20% gets used of it. So we do need that. And what transmission and distribution? What has this government done for transmission and distribution specifically of renewable energy? You've invested so much money in making this renewable, which is wonderful, but what have you done? Same thing about carbon credit trading. Carbon credit trading is wonderful, but it's all up in the air. Have you spoken to stakeholders? Have you consulted states? Have you consulted industry? Nothing, from the best of my knowledge. Last small point, sir, is about discoms. In the morning, he was a little upset about, the Honorable Minister was slightly agitated because of what happened between us. But sir, this needs serious discussion. Why did Government of India give money to states in that Udayan scheme? If I stand corrected, they gave it to the states so that we would reach the last mile. Garib, जो शोषित है, पीड़ित, जो दूर में रहता है गांव में, उसको बिजली मिले. उसके लिए आपने उदय स्कीम दी. स्टेट्स को पैसा दिया, जब दिया तब ऐसा नहीं कहा कि ये गरीब के लिए मैं दे रहा हूं. स्टेट्स थॉट दैट वाज अ स्कीम विच वाज गिवन टू एनकरेज द पुअर पीपल, सपोर्ट द स्टेट्स. लोन मांगा, हमने मांगा तो नहीं था, आपने सामने से दिया. स्टेट्स तो मांगने नहीं आई थी, आपने किया बहुत अच्छी स्कीम है, ले लो पैसा. So if they gave the money, they did not say it's a scheme. Now they are saying कि it is given, no freebies allowed. Sir, how will it work like that? आप अगर किसान को बिजली दे रहे हो, उसमें दिक्कत क्या है? और sir, see the double standards of this government, sir, which really pains all of us. कि आप 6,000 किसान को दो, तो it is allowed. If the state gives free बिजली to the किसान, it's a freebie. तो आप करो तो अच्छा, हम करें तो सब बुरा. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता ना सर. So if you are giving 6,000 to them, we are happy, we compliment you, we congratulate you. अच्छी बात है. मैं तो कहती हूँ 6 का 12 करो, 12 का 18 करो, कोई नहीं, अच्छी बात है. You give it in their account, but why is this government anti-electricity only in the states? Sir, if you could kindly clarify all these points. I just, last one line, sir, I would just like to make a last point. I've cut all my other points. Is what government really needs to do is have a clear-cut policy. There is no, they keep changing policies every few months. That's why people are very anxious. And we need a wind and solar storage hybrid model. These models that we are working on are not going to work. We need a hybrid model, and that's what this government needs to lead. We are willing to work with them, but please give clear clarifications in the reply at policy level. Thank you, sir.
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय. जब भी हो ना सर तो रोकना हो तो उसके 10 मिनट पहले हमको बता दीजिए.